up? What's up? Oh man, I haven't really looked at charts much today. What I am seeing though on Bitcoin, um, we're starting to respect this newly introduced demand. I don't think and it's nothing to long or really pay attention to in that type of manner. For me, at least. Maybe for you, you take longs off that. I wouldn't because the 15-minute is bearish, the 4 hours bearish, the daily is bearish, weekly is bearish. I mean, everything that has any kind of structure to me. I don't really go lower than a 15-minute, except for entries. Sorry, excuse me, but yeah, everything's pretty bearish. So I'm not really trying to play this this complex pullback. We could see a run up on liquidity. We've got these equal highs up here. We've got a clean high here, and then this point of interest I selected. It's right on equilibrium of the 15-minute range. If you draw right there, it's right on equilibrium. So I like it already just because of that. We would have that liquidity sweep pushing above these equal highs, above this clean high. And then also we see that, this institutional candle right there provides us a pretty big fair value gap right above those equal highs as well. So I'll be looking to go short if we can get the low time frames shifting bullish here, or I'm sorry, shifting bearish. But I also like this POI up here. Now, I don't necessarily know if this will get hit or not. We kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. Obviously, we'd rather short from here, but I do see a lot of displacement in the market right there. So we know that maybe volume kind of ramped up there. Nothing was super high, but this is really where I would look to be going short. I mean, you have liquidity on your side, you have absorbing that fair value gap, and then you also have the institute. You could draw just this last candle. It's an inside bar, which that I like inside bars. I'll just use up to the top. There's a couple ways you could go about it. If you guys go chart this and you feel super confident about it, you could just play a short off that level. But for me, whenever we're not really it's not priced extremely well. It is at equilibrium, so it's fair market value, considerable to the 15-minute range. But I'd like to set an alert, see that 1 minute start to break down and show signs of weakness before entering anything there. You could, the risk entry here, which would be just to, play shorts just like that and target the weak low down here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because the way I look at it, whenever we have all of the time frames that are, any kind of time frames I use for structure are bearish, then I'm a little bit more liberal with how and more aggressive with how I take positions. So I see that. I just try to use the lower time frames because I like a little bit higher risk to reward, but it's a good trade idea right there. It checks all the boxes. It's with a 4-hour structure. It's with a 15-minute structure. We have liquidity in play. We'd sweep these highs, also a fair value gap. So, you could even be, try to play the whole zone. I just don't do that. So I'm going to play that institutional candle, that last candle where I see the supply was really introduced in the market. That's where we got that break of structure from, and also inside bar. So we know on a lower time frame that's going to be a range. We can actually, let's take a look at it. And I won't refine it down this much, but you could look at that and say, okay, when you see now how this is a little range, then we have another inside bar. If you really wanted to be crazy with it, you could say something like that. But personally, I don't do that. Maybe that's your style, but look at ETH. I haven't plotted ETH as much recently. Kind of got tired of the gray boxes. I started to use the blue and the red. I kind of like it a little bit better. Just gives some life to the chart. So yeah, there was already nice sells to be had up here. Just same with Bitcoin. And we can look up here and we can go back and see, where that new supply was, really introduced to the market by just finding this first sign of weakness, which is right there. And it's a similar setup to Bitcoin. I'd mentioned that POI up top, but we never really tapped back into it after the break. So it's still a valid POA or POI, POA, but it's still a valid POI up here. Um, we have a very similar setup here with Ethereum as Bitcoin. I mean, usually that's the case. So I like both. I like this level here as well. I like Bitcoin a little bit better. I mean, you've got um, liquidity on your side here. You're engineering that trend line liquidity here. I wouldn't really count that into play for this up here, but then you have this inducement high right here. There's gonna be liquidity involved here. It's not equal highs like Bitcoin had, but you are starting to engineer that buy side. So once we see that buy side is ran, we can pair that with supply and demand. Also, market structures is it's better to, in my opinion, to go in the lower time frames. Once price pushes up here, we start to break down. There's your sign of weakness, and then you find your supply zone there. There's your your risk entry, or your single confirmation entry, or you could wait for that second break of structure, find your supply zone there, and then take it. Now, with this option, you, in crypto, I've seen recently, and a lot of people look at it like that's the better way to do it, like using that flip zone. While I agree, but I don't agree at putting the stop loss right here because it sweeps so much lately with crypto. Everything's getting manipulated pretty hard. So if you do choose to use that, I recommend using that higher zone. And then also, if you end up using the um, confirmation entry, I don't think there's anything wrong with using, the high of the 15-minute zone if your risk to reward is still where you need it to be. Because I know a lot of people that I work with, they get really hung up on, or like for instance, a lot of people you'll see posting, um, a play where it's like this, and you're like, damn, but here's the thing that they're not telling you, they're getting stopped out multiple times, which there's nothing wrong with that. I trade like that sometimes. That's, you won't be able to signal them because people don't listen, and people kind of get little in their feelings. But if you're using those 1 minute entries, you can get stopped out 3 4 5 times as long as your POI is correct. That's not the goal, obviously, but I'm just saying theoretically. And then you hit that one trade and it goes all the way down. So if you're kind of struggling, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how am I going to get this super high R, and it looks really appealing, and it's just a different hustle. So, for instance, if price comes up in here, and this is like with a 1 minute structure, we'll just imagine. So it does this, and then it breaks down. You're like, oh, okay, I got my confirmation. I'm being smarter. I'm gonna enter here, and my stop loss is gonna be right here, and then price does this, and then just dies down. Now, that happens all the time with crypto. And whenever you see, I've said in the past, crypto price action is a little sloppy. A lot of the stuff that you'll see work with, indices or forex, it works, but crypto is a little more volatile. You're going to see more false signals and more stop runs. That's why I tell people Bitcoin's one of the harder assets to trade, but you can always just use this as your stop loss. Because let's just say, you waited for that confirmation just to build your confidence. You know what I mean? You're not using it to minimize your risk reward, but you're just using it to build more confidence. And just say if you're still going to get a better risk to reward, but you can use that stop loss of your original demand zone, because at the end of the day, the structure that you're going to um, find on 1 minute and 5 minute charts, it's not going to be respected as much, and it is sometimes, but just, and I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying, if you do that, be aware that this can happen. And then you might have to wait for, this number. Like, okay, well, now I've got another break of structure. Here's my new supply zone. And then you see price come up. But then the problem here with a lot of people, what they do is price, they're waiting for that. They're just bearish. Price is, we got stopped out once, and price came down and broke structure again. So now it's bearish again. But whenever they're using internal structure, right here, now you're bullish again. So when you're doing this, if you just set your limit up here at this supply zone, that's actually a risk entry. There's no more confirmation because you're just using a 1 minute POI without knowing if price is going to be, you're not even using your 1 minute market structure. It's kind of redundant, and that's where I see a lot of people screwing up. So for instance, at this point you'd want to see price come into this area and then shift bearish again, and then if your strategy is a confirmation entry, and that's your confirmation entry. So whenever you price runs away from your original, uh, sorry if it's an ugly drawing, I hope that got the message, but when price runs away from your original POI and doesn't go back into it, you can't really just say you're using a confirmation entry by setting a limit at that level, because price structure is going to have to be bullish to get back up there. So you want to make sure that price comes into your POI and then shifts back bearish. I've been just getting a lot of questions about that with people I've been doing one-on-ones with, is about how to use the low time frame for entries. And there's a right and wrong way, and people make it, try to use it as like a selling point almost, like they'll but they're not showing you how many times they're getting stopped during that period. So I just wanted to clear that up for some of you guys. But yeah, with Ethereum here, um, very good setup. I think from this level as well, we've got this fair value gap. This high didn't trace all the way back up into the 50% here. So if we saw price push up above it, you would have, not only you'd have liquidity, you'd have your supply, but then all we'd need in order to really hammer it in is to see price break structure on the low time frames. So that's how you could really take this in a more um, conservative approach. But the argument holds that if we are bearish in the 4 hour, or bearish in the 15 minute, the 1 hour, the daily, the weekly, well, sometimes you may not feel the need to have all of that confirmation, because a lot of times price will hit that level and move violently away and you'll miss the trade, which there's nothing wrong with that. But um, everybody has different styles. I'm actually putting together a trade model, or a couple trade models for you guys in Notion, because I think it really helps to have criteria that's specific. You know, like for instance, maybe if you're trading against the 4 hour trend, you need a confirmation entry. Maybe if you're trading with the 4 hour trend, you don't. That kind of stuff. And that's just an example. Maybe you won't trade against. I recommend not to trade against the 15-minute trend. That's one thing I've started implementing. Is even if, like, for instance, like here, if we're just looking at this over here, we're not looking left, we're not mindful and cognizant of our structure. This is going to look like a fat long. You're like, oh, we broke structure. Here's this order block, fair value gap. We swept lows, yada yada. Oh, liquidity is being engineered and swept. And while this might play out, it's highly, um, it's more probable for false signals, in my opinion. And you're trading against the trend. So sometimes that can be bad for someone's psychology when they're just learning, because they'll think they're doing something wrong, when in reality, think about when you're trading against the trend, even if your technicals are right and everything's right, you're cutting your odds down. So you know, don't get discouraged if you take an L. Just know that that's the risk you took trading against the trend. Um, so, for me, I won't trade against the 15-minute trend. Now, I'll trade against the 4 hour trend, but the 15-minute needs to be on my side. For instance, if the 4 hour is bearish, right, and we're just making these lower lows, lower highs. You know, Once we get this break of structure, once I start to see that 15-minute swing structure shift bullish, I'll look for POIs, or areas of liquidity above equilibrium, and target them. And that's how you can trade that. But I'm not going to trade against the 15-minute and the 4 hour. All that, I think it's a little bit much. And I also think that a key to being successful in the long term trading, is simplifying your process. So you don't have to sit there. And at the end of the day, we want to make the money work for us. While trading is an active income, we don't want to waste time on it. So I think that cutting out trading against the 15-minute trend, um, for me, you could make money doing it, and you can still be profitable doing it, but it's a lot more, your time spent less efficiently, and the trades are just a little more choppy. The price action is not going to be very satisfying. Often you're going to have a little drawdown, that sort of thing. So that's just food for thought. Here on on Ethereum, though, I'm going to set alerts for this level. Um, just kind of hang out. It'd be really nice if we'd come all the way up here. I could see that because when you look, this was our original sign of weakness when we retraced. Here's our swing range right here, and we kind of came back up to the you know extreme premium of this swing, cleared out this high, and that's where you got that low time distribution. We go like a 5 minute and maybe analyze a little more and show, okay, well, this is where you really started to see that selling take place, was right in there. You had that fair value gap after it. Personally, I would still just keep it how it was. Um, that just that whole little order block up there, but that would be a nice POI. You'd sweep a lot of liquidity. Um, there was a fair value gap here, pretty high up. It's be priced much better than this area, but I do see more displacement here. You know, and we broke more structure here too. We broke a lot of levels right there. So that's kind of what I'm watching for the majors. And seems like Bitcoin, though, I will say, is engineering more buy or more sell side. Seems like here on Ethereum, you actually ran this area and you didn't form any equal lows. On Bitcoin, we have those equal lows right here, this low, and then our swing low, which is really the 4 hour structure is weird. I mean, I see the argument that this is now your 4 hour structure because it doesn't seem like it's a big pullback, but I mean, it really is. 12% pullback, that's enough for a swing pullback for me. So now our 4 hour structure for me has changed because, we got a pullback to my liking. That's plenty enough for me. 10% is enough. And then we got a closure down below there. Where, now we didn't get a closure down here. So this is going to be my swing range. It's the same as the 15-minute, the same as the 1 hour. So, if we can start to break above this level, then we can maybe start to really look for longs. But until then, I'm not speculating that we will or that we won't, or trying to trade off of the notion of either of those things. But all I'm going to use is what I have in front of me, which is the 15 minutes still bearish, 4 hours bearish, everything's bearish. And also on the weekly, when we're looking, I think I refined it to a daily. Yeah, we have this demand zone right here and this fair value gap. But I mean, and honestly, here's the thing. Like I saw somebody was like laughing about um fucking Peter Schiff or whatever saying 12K, and like by all means that dude's a fucking idiot tool. I get it. But like look at this chart. I'm just being honest with you guys. Like you can hate me if you want. It's not unreasonable to say some shit like that. It's just not. But I'm not aiming for that. When I look at the weekly, that's really the only strong area I see. But here, looking at the daily, we have this demand zone right before Bitcoin really started taking flight. So this is kind of one of our last accumulations before the bull run went full fucking force. And we also have this daily flip zone right here because we can see that price reacted up into this zone right here. We pushed up in it, kind of pulled back. That's where you have this inside bar. And new demand was introduced that pushed us through that level. So that would be the zone I'd be looking for. We're very close to it, so I don't see why we wouldn't tap into it. And that kind of goes along with the 4 hour and the 50 minute still being bullet or bearish. Now we could just see a quick pull into it. I don't know, maybe not even close a 4 hour candle there. I would think we probably would, but that's kind of what I would like to happen. What is that? I haven't looked at DXY today. DXY, I mean, it doesn't necessarily look very weak. In my opinion, you filled this 4 hour IPA right here. Came back into a discount of this swing we had. So, for me, I mean, this just looks like a bullish chart, and that was just a pullback. So, as far as longs or anything denominated by the dollar, we really need to see this start to retrace and fail. So when I'm looking at the 15-minute, the price swing is pretty big still. We're still bullish in the 15-minute. This is how I would draw it. So it's going to need a lot for me to start saying the dollar is going to go down more. Um, it plunged the other day, and we could see a reversal, but the way I look at it, the 4 hours bullish, daily's bullish, the 1 hour has shifted bearish. It looks like here. So we had, and then the 15-minute shifted bearish, but you can see right here, shifted bearish, and then we got this little pullback, and that's enough for me. So, I wouldn't say this is, yeah, it's not confirming it's going to continue up, but the 15-minute is bullish for me where it sits. The 1 hour is not, though. So, we could see this reversal here off this supply zone and come down and take out this weak low and go into this demand. That would give assets a good pump, just like we saw the other day, and the FOMC stuff. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at there. I'll take a look at some Forex. What was it I was looking at? So I think it was New Zealand dollar. So here, I think it was this. Let's see. So this chart's kind of wonky. And really, I would say this is a bullish chart because you had, here is your swing structure. Bam. Came up here. And you closed under. So then you're bearish, 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 bearish. And then this was your swing range before you went bullish. You got that closure over here. I mean, I guess you could say that was a closure, but that's barely. I mean, if we're gonna be technical, I guess that would be a closure. So then you would have had, it's the lowest point after this before the new high. Got that closure. Yeah, so this really was your swing range, and then now you're bearish. Yeah, this is still going to be your high for right now, but now we've got a new low down here. It's a pretty big price swing right here. No signs of a pullback either. A bullish move to the upside, because what we can do when we're bearish and we see those weekly breaks of structure, I think it was, what was that? I draw it right here. Yeah. So you've got that weekly break of structure. So now we're going to expect a pullback. Now, what do we need to see that? We need to see that internal structure, that minor break of structure, which we haven't seen. We did just run some liquidity down here. I think that was the previous monthly low as well. Yeah, it was. So that would give us the notion that we might see a little more upside, but we need more than just that. We need to see at least the 4 hour starting to shift, because the daily still bearish as can be. Liquidity grab up here. That's super bearish, but that's probably just sending us down to that previous monthly low. So 4 hour, this is what I was looking at. So the 4 hour, if you consider this a pullback here, let's see. I'm just gonna kind of see the average pullback. It's like 84 pips, 50 pips. Seems like somewhere between 80 and 100 pips, I would say, on average, maybe 60. So let's see how much this is down here. I wouldn't really call that a 4 hour pullback yet. So for me, the 4 hours is still bearish here. And this is really just your supply zone that we're kind of reacting to. Let's see. You definitely got that 15-minute showing a sign of weakness when we came up to this zone. Pretty clean. You could have drew it right here, or right. I would have drawn it here personally. And then we left this inside bar, didn't tap into it. So one could possibly look for shorts. Obviously the weekend's closed, but if the United States dollar falls a little bit and we can get some relief here, we could look for, because we got our liquidity, right? We've got our supply zone, got our break of structure. So one could look for shorts if we come up into this zone, and start to see the lower time frame shift bearish. That this is one setup I do want to keep an eye on. Let me see something. But we're seeing that newly introduced supply respected, but we did leave a void right here, that fair value gap, and we did not completely cover that up. So if I lock this, it'll quit doing that. Yeah. So always have your criteria. So for me, the POI is good because it's sponsored to break a structure. We also have. Hold on, somebody's making noise. We also have displacement after it, and it's definitely priced well. But the thing is here, we look at the 15-minute price swing. We say, okay, here we had swing range, bam, bam. So really, your swing range is still bullish in the 15-minute. But this could just be a pullback. Interesting. Yeah, I would need a confirmation entry here for sure, just because theoretically we have to assume, like I said before, I don't really want to trade against the 15-minute structure. So here on the 15-minute, we're bullish right here. Yes, the 4 hour is bearish. We did come in that supply and react to it. Um, the 15-minute is still bullish here, and maybe we were just coming down to pull. This was just a normal pullback because if you look, we came down into this zone, started to react pretty nicely. You definitely got low time frame confirmation there. You can see that price came into this area at that internal break of structure. Price came back down. It didn't really tap. You didn't really get an entry there if you used that any of this range at all, really. Actually, I guess theoretically, if you want to be real, this is why I like inside bars. Theoretically, you did get that was your change of character right there, because that was your high. This candle produced a new low after it, while this did not. So you had here was your high, came down, you had a pullback, another high because we produced a new low, and there would have been your entry. I can't say I would have taken that one, but that's how that would have been taken. And then it looks like you didn't get that double confirmation entry because that was your second break. The supply that pushed you back down. One would have looked right here. And you didn't get anything there. So um, that would have been a nice play. I probably wouldn't have taken it because it's counter to the 4 hour trend. I don't know. I mean, especially now that you had this story that we want price to go back up here. But 15 minutes bullish. So maybe what would be ideal, if price comes up here and reverses, you could take a riskier trade because you're going against the 15-minute. But ideally, what I'd like is for price to do this number, come up and grab this liquidity, and then that gives us a new swing range, maybe something that's a little tighter, and we can start to shift bearish in that manner. Look at gold. So gold was respecting this new entry. Yeah, the power of three set up. I think there was on like the daily there was demand. I refined it like crazy. I think you were in this. There was a, let's see, the 4 hour. I refined everything down. That 4 hour demand definitely got the reaction needed there. And then I'll just delete all this. Then after that, price came back into your 4 hour demand. You could have refined this, but price came back up because we got that internal break of structure. You didn't get a close, but for internal, I think wicks are okay. So you broke there. Price came back into this area and then pushed up from there. Seems like price still wanted to come back down. Because this is one of those, when you have these big candles like that, it's always good to go in and refine them and really identify where the demand entered the market, because a lot of times people will use that entry and then price goes up, and then they'll try, it comes down and taps onto it like this right here. Like it'll come back up and it taps onto it, and then everybody wants to use like this as your new POI with a stop loss under there, and you can see what happened to those people. You got wicked out. I mean, nearly immediately, or yeah, actually immediately if they have orders set. But the reason for that is that they failed to analyze this zone. It's a really big zone like that. You want to go in on a lower time frame and find, okay, where did the demand really enter the market, and have we tap back into it? You could even refine it farther than this candle, but you see kind of tap back into it, but nothing really major. And we're looking for what price did after we broke structure. Up, up. I think it was up somewhere in this region for that 4-hour internal structure. So we see price didn't even come all the way back down to that level yet. That could leave you or lead you away from trying to use the higher zones with a limit at least. I sweep these lows. I did. Okay, good. What's up, Timothy? How you doing? Hell yeah. Seems like this was the POI for gold right there. That's actually a really clean area. Uh, you swept liquidity, so you've got that down there. We've got twice that you had these equal lows that got swept. So price came back down into that level. So let's see what it did when it came to this level, because this is important. We can look and say, okay, on the 15-minute price came down here. Really for me, this was your new internal high, the initial one you had. But then price started to kind of make some new structure. You had this, and then you had this right here. And then if you want to get really technical, there was your first change of character. And you can see that that was respected because this demand candle right here came in, was respected. Now, what happens after that? Pick up structure to the upside. You have this new POI right here. I don't think it's ever been tapped just yet. Now, I wouldn't put any limits on this. You could, watch it. If price comes down to it. I'll set an alert for this. So you could set an alert for that and just watch this price goes down to it, because we would have a ton of liquidity getting swept here. All of this right here would get swept. Price came up here. See, really, because I mean, if you drew it like this was your zone, you never really got to push back down to this area, and you got a second break of structure. So we're seeing that bullish order flow has entered the marketplace. That was where you could have maybe had that entry. Then somewhere in this wick, there was new demand on a low time frame. It's the same thing. You're just layering it and kind of identifying where price started to switch bullish off of these levels. I could watch this area over here. Would be another area to watch. Thing with the gold though, swing structure. If I'm not mistaken, the 4 hour is still pretty bearish. Yeah, it is. So right here was your old swing structure. You rated liquidity upside and get that break of structure down. So 4 hours still bearish. So we got to be mindful that these moves to the upside could be just pushing up to mitigate sell orders before going down further. So let's see, I had this marked up. It was like a H4 area. Seems you respected this institutional candle here though pretty nicely. And so if you look, you came down after that, because now you're trading with the 4 hour trend, so you can be a little bit more aggressive. You're in premium of the 4 hour range. Here's the inside bar. That was your initial break of structure. You could try to maybe have drawn this up here, but this inside bar, we all know that means price hit demand. It kind of pulled back. And that's where you can get some of those better entries, because we know that supply was introduced within this low time frame range. Price came up here. The first entry would have been nice. Maybe some people used a 1 minute confirmation there and got liquidity swept. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. So for instance, let's see, this happens all the time. So you waited for price to come up into this zone. You use the 1 minute to enter. Now, you wouldn't have lost money. You probably got break even, but let's just see how that happens. So price comes up. Okay, you made a new low. There's your internal low. Price breaks down from it. I mean, really, you didn't even get an entry, in all honesty. But maybe you just mark it whenever that happens. That's another strategy people do whenever we break down. They mark it and just use the stop up here, or you just set a limit right here. But like we were saying before, if we're going to use that logic, that okay, well, this is where new supply was introduced. The market structure shifting bearish in my higher time frame POI, so I'm going to set limits here. And you just said, okay, bam, maybe you put it right above the zone, whichever you put it there, you just got stopped out. And you're like, damn, what did I do wrong? The 4 hours with me, the 15 minutes with me, and all this. But in all reality, it was whenever you plotted that out. But look what happens. Price was obviously bullish, shifted bullish after that. You see what I mean? The internal structure 15 on the 15-minute, was bullish. The swing structure still been bullish, right? At this point, because you came down, or no, it's still bearish. So you'd be up here. That was your old structure. So you broke down. You broke down again. So that's just an example of what can happen if you use that 1 minute and you forget. The whole reason you're using that is to confirm that market structure is bearish when you're entering the trade. But by the time you execute, structure shifted bullish. So the way you would have attacked this was, you get left behind here. You just cancel your order and set an alert. And then you also are back up in this area. So then what happens? Okay, well, if you were patient, now prices came back up in here. Now you've got a liquidity sweep. Now you've got an even better setup. You could even play just the ICT setup here, where you had this internal break of structure right there, and then you had a fair value gap right there. This is easy. I mean, you're in the trade instantly. Stop loss above this high. That would be the ICT, I guess, way to play that. You would wait until price came in the fair value gap. You could have, just used this as your stop loss. Really, that would have been the way to do it. And then, targeted a low down here. And you could have, I mean, maybe you're trading with your 4 hour bias and you target way lower. That's totally fine too. But um, that's just an example how you can execute off that POI. So that being said, going back to where we saw that failure right here of demand, now we can go back up and draw this whole candle because now we have that new supply introduced. We had a liquidity raid there, so it's a sweep zone. It's gonna be a stronger zone. I'll set alerts for this. I have too many fucking alerts. Half these I don't even use. Shit. I think that was what I wanted. What you watching, Timmy? What's that? What's it on? No, you're fine. That's fine. Hell yeah. Right? I never really. Is it like a streaming service or like the channel? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. With gold here, we could see maybe. Seems like we're starting to engineer a little bit of trend line liquidity, but I wouldn't worry about that too much yet. Ideally, I'd like to see price do something like this. Like, it comes up, kind of grabs that liquidity, goes down into this demand zone, switches back up, and gives a nice, trade. And you could just target this demand down here. The gold, personally, if I can get a good trade on gold, I've learned my lesson with trying to really hold on to those entries for a long time. Or if you do, you got to take some off because gold has a mind of its own. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But that's another setup I will be watching coming into the next week. Euro USD. Here's another one I wanted to go over. Right here, if we're on the 5-minute, you guys are probably going to set limits now. I haven't set limits, but I am watching for that area. I like this because price came back down, and now if we look, the 4-hour is bullish, right? All this is bullish. This is our swing range. We came all the way back down into this demand that really started this run. It's preserving the sell side liquidity down here, which that's the only thing that I don't like for the bullish case is that the weekly there's weekly equal lows right here. But I do think we're going to come up and snatch this 4-hour high before we move down, or at least up into this supply up here. We'll see. But what I'm watching for coming into the week is price to come back down. We've got this demands on our refiner to a 5-minute. Price tapped into it. We got that nice, really clean price action here. Internal market structure break came up, but we didn't come down and mitigate this area. So we're engineering this trend line liquidity. Also, right before the market close, you have this kind of liquidity, or this equal low, these equal lows right here. I can't talk, but this POI is cool right here and all. Like there's displacement after it, and there's a fair value gap, and it had to break structure. But I just see this right here as something that wants to get ran, and I would feel very confident if price comes down into this area, and we raid this liquidity, come down, and then start to reverse here. That's where I'd start to look for entries. We can start to get lower time frame price action shifting bullish within that zone. Yeah, so I said ICT talking about Bitcoin to 100. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about all that, but I mean, when you look at it on like a weekly chart or a monthly chart, I mean, it's not crazy to say we're going to like 12K or anything like that. Don't hate me or say, "Oh, dude, Casper said we're going to 12K." I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. If I was looking, if you just like made my screen blind and I didn't have any of this up here, and this is like a 15-minute chart, I'd there. Like that's the perspective that I kind of have to take on it. Is like looking at that to me. If I was looking to go long on this chart and this was just like maybe a low time frame chart, I'd be like, oh, this is perfect zone to go long. But I'm kind of gonna take it as it goes. You do have this kind of this sell to buy demand, or demand right there that we were talking about that earlier on the beginning of the stream. This area, something like that. It's different on Bitstamp, but this is the area I see any kind of value at. But again, we just need that 4-hour internal shift. Oh, what's up, Silent? That's him. Silence in the YouTube chat. Everybody misses you, bro. You gotta hop back in PlayBit. Really? He probably will. I'll tell him. He'll do it. We gotta get Silent back in here, bro. Bro, I'm so fucking sick about this shit, bro. Like, I was watching these and I wanted to short. I had this zone plotted right here on the franc, like the dollar franc. I had this zone and I wanted to short it, and then I just wasn't watching. And, bro, look at that shit. Like, God, bro. Yeah, that shit, like, bro. Like, holy shit. I mean, I still see opportunities in it. I still do, like this. Say what? Oh yeah, that would have been like you're hot. We're giving you an account immediately. Well, dude, I did the fucking the challenge, or not the challenge, the trial, and I passed it. And I was like, why the fuck didn't you just do the challenge, bro? Like, because I will say the trades that I hit on it were not like like, bro. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Bro, it was like immediate. Like, exactly, bro. It was oh wait, it's up here, I think. Or is it? I don't know if I kept the oh yeah, it's right here. Like and I know that doesn't look crazy, but bro, on a 200K account, like yeah, that, and I didn't trim shit. I didn't trim anything until the end. I was like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, holy fuck, bro. It was up like 26K at one point or 24K or some shit like that. But yeah, so I was like, fuck, man. But whatever. I'll hit it again. The only thing like I've been fucking with Wait, say what? Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, dude, have you guys seen what happened to Oh wait, it's doing it again. It just did it again. Fuck. Japanese bonds. Have y'all seen this shit? Yeah, no, I know they're buying. They're guaranteeing. But did you? I didn't know it did it again just now, like in the last 15 minutes. I knew it did it the other day. This shit's insane. Yeah. They said they're gonna do it every day. They said they're gonna do it every single day, bro. Bro, dude, I was literally. I remember you were in here too. I was talking about bonds, like, cause I was like getting on, started to just do like multi-asset class, like macro analysis, and I was like, yeah, Japan bonds are bullish as fuck. And then that shit, it's just crazy how like, bro, like, cause they knew these plans before it happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just insane how the chart will tell a story like that. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna go this high, to be honest, but or at least this fast. Yeah, yeah, I should say this fast at least. Bro, that's like the most insane forex fucking chart, bro. Like, hold on. Yeah. I want to because look at this breaker too as a 4 hour, I think. I don't really know how I'd fuck with it too much, but I have it set. I want to watch and see how. I'm not really touching this right now, but this could be a long. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, my bad. Go ahead. Wait. Hell yeah. Oh, wait, a breaker like this? Hell yeah. Oh, okay. I left some New Zealand dollar, or yeah, I guess I don't know how I even say it. New Zealand dollar, like US dollar longs. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Is it 10 year? Hold on. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, IT10. I haven't looked at Italian shit. I know I did see that though. Yeah. Bro, yeah, the world's fucked right now. Platinum longs are gonna fucking print soon. I'm upsetting alerts for this. The XPT looks bullish as fuck on like weekly, daily, everything. Well, yeah, and Ukraine owns 7 of the wheat. Yeah. Yeah, the world's coming to a fucked up point, that's for damn sure. But that was fun. He said, sorry, guys. You're fucked. Yeah. That would not be fun. Fucking platinum, dude. I'm fucking with this chart. That's never fun. Yeah, I'm gonna really be looking into these longs soon. Literally, can't do shit. Right. Right. Just because everything that's going on. There's what? They're telling people that, like, on, like, the fucking well, I think the argument is that a lot of banks have, yeah, yeah. Got fucked by GameStop. Yeah, right. I heard some fucked up shit that I'm not even gonna say. Somebody was telling me it might be the same thing you're about to say, though. I don't know if it's the same thing. Somebody told me, I was like, "I don't know about that, bro." Yeah, that's the same thing that somebody told me. I didn't know that. Yeah. It's like a fucking manifesto or some fucked up shit. China's crazy. Jesus. Shit is so fucked. Right, it's not like a conspiracy theory. Yeah, that shit's so fucked up. Right? I mean, it makes sense. It's like, fuck, bro. Like, America's just fucked up in every way, dog. That's just what it comes down to. The world, not America, as I would say. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. That's fucking horrible. God. Yeah, Arizona is pretty notorious for that, from what I've heard. I want to say AVAX lungs aren't looking too terrible either. It's so fucked up, bro. How the fuck do people think that shit's just like that shit's so fucked up. That shit's fucked up. There's still no excuse though. Right. Honestly, I would love to see something like this happen on AVAX because there's like liquidity on both sides. You got a trend line liquidity up top, this trend line liquidity down below. It looks like people think that this supplies or demand's been mitigated, but it hasn't. When you really look, like where the actual demand came into the market, it was this inside bar right here. For me, I mean that's where I see because you came up a little bit, pulled back, and then pushed, or even maybe lower in this bar. But regardless, neither of them have been hit. But I'll actually look for longs. Um, let's see. Yeah, like where the most volume came in. It could be. I mean, like if you look, there's like a bunch of yeah, yeah. There's a bunch. Yeah, selling climax. The only thing is though with that kind of shit, like for everybody that was the same way it was with Bitcoin was in the 4 hour before it got absolutely obliterated. Like when everyone was like saying Ethereum and Bitcoin was accumulation. So that's why I don't know. I think Wyckoff's cool, but like I see so much more people. Like I think it's good for like low time frame shit. Like Ebo does really well with it, but I see a lot of people that are like people are like, oh, dude, we're accumulating the entire time Bitcoin was in that 4 range, and I was just like, bro, I mean, like I see it, but I don't think it is just because it's like I don't know. Exactly, exactly. It's speculative. I don't like that. But the low time frame with schematics, you can see those setups super. And all it is like you'll just see like for instance like if you have a 4 hour inside bar, well it's like a 5 minute distribution like that kind of stuff. Like I get it. Like I like using them after they happen. I don't like speculating they're happening. Like for instance, like up here's distribution for sure. You know what I'm saying? It's like good three drive. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like use the LPSY, like play the test or something. That makes sense to me. But like trying to like say like oh we're accumulating like it's just like I don't. I just feel like it's like it's too guessing games for me. Yeah, exactly. It's like fuck, bro. So much just. I think that a lot of people like with smart money especially, and the thing like the two biggest problems that I see with like the smart money education industry. Number one is transparency. Like these motherfuckers don't really show you. Like that's why you never see half these people even actually trading or giving any signals or actually they'll just show you like for instance like a lot of the people that sell courses they don't they'll just show you like an idea and then it works kind of but like no one actually got in it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like oh like you know what I'm saying like that's a huge thing because then it's like what it does is it makes people it's just like selling people on shit, you know what I mean? And it makes people like excited and they want to get on that when in reality the person that's doing that probably didn't even take the trade or if they did they got stopped out like 5 times, which is fine, you know what I'm saying? But people sell dreams like a motherfucker, and then on top of that then you have people like Ment or all these fucking clowns who like just make up a bunch of names and like try to make everything super complicated to like give them like a god complex when in reality the shit's not complicated. Like that's the thing I hate about Wyckoff is like people like oh dude it's actually and like there's always a reason for why like motherfuckers will give you a bias and it'll go wrong and they'll be like oh this is just because this bro like you didn't see this. It's like all right dog like I was watching something by Matt one time. Just I was like, cause I watched him a long time ago, and then I watched like different shit and kind of just like refresh different perspectives. Cause I'm kind of stuck in my way of doing it at this point. You know what I'm saying? But like I was watching so much shit. Like now that I understand it a lot more than I used to, I was like, this dude's such a fucking joke, bro. Like he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. I swear, dude. Like his like I don't even know Wyckoff. Like, and I was watching him like plot, and I was like, bro, he's literally just like looking at shit. Like this kind of looks like accumulation. He's like, marking it, and then he's like, "Yeah, the Met 3 box 3." It's like that. We'll talk about that later. He's like, goes over. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. But that's like a huge thing that kills me about this because it makes it. I think it turns people off of it. But really, all it is just like common sense logic. It's like, are we making higher highs, higher lows? If we are, trade with that. If not, then don't. Like, I wonder if AVEX is going to do exactly what retail. We just get absolutely obliterated right here. No, it's too early to say that yet, but just reached up, grabbed this trend line liquidity, dumps down because I like that zone down here because the reason I like it is when we're in the 4 hour now, we are due for a pullback. You know, we got our break of structure over here, and then that is here's our 4 hour range. We've got a pretty nice supply zone in a premium, and we got our change of character in the internal structure once right here. So now it's like, okay, what demand pushed us? I look at the wick because I'm not going to draw this. This has already been cleared. So then we come down to that wick, and then we're starting to move up. Now, really not confirmed till you break above this. So it's a little more aggressive. But the 15-minute, when we came back down into that demand, maybe I can make it where you can see it. Or wait, the 15-minute demand is that, or that wick was this inside bar right here. So then, you can see we came back down into this and respected that demand because we came into it and then we got an internal break of structure right there. So then, you had this inside bar, which got tapped a little bit, but we don't really see a crazy reaction. I mean, it is respecting it. So it's like, I mean, theoretically, longs off of that would have been valid. It came back down into it right here. Here's your inside bar that sponsored that. Now, if we get a second break above here with a closure, then you could say that this notion is incorrect and you could look for longs off this demand. But I want to see that every time. Like like anytime that I like don't incorporate uh, the liquidity aspect of it, even if it's just something simple like these little trend line liquidity, almost every time it gets ran. Which either way, trading the M15 will stop you from getting hit like that. But I just realized I have to go pick this fucking food up. I ordered it like 20 minutes ago. It's probably done, but yeah, I guess I'll watch some setups. But really, on the weekends, I like to kind of just chill and maybe reflect on the past week, do some TA, like run some really detailed TA on your whole watch list and get geared up for the next upcoming week. um, there's a lot of manipulation on the weekends. It's just pure algos trading. There's no retail liquidity. There's no active institutional involvement. It's just all algorithms, so it's just going to raid all liquidity. You'll get a lot of false signals. I mean, there's huge moves though. You will get a lot of huge moves. So that's your style. Have fun, but I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll watch for some setups. If I see something that I like enough, I'll play it. But until then, yeah, just at me. If you got any questions, DM me. My DMs are always open. And yeah, we'll just get on next week, guys. I'll see you. Oh, actually, class. I'll have a class tomorrow, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time as usual. It'll be at 1 Eastern. So till then, I'll see you guys later. Peace.